Coming up on this edition of ATV News.
We do have a shot if we can get students to really turn out and participate in this.
We'll show you what you can do to help USU win the Lieutenant Governor's Campus Cup.
We care about our students. We are offering mental health services.
We'll show you how therapy is becoming more available to students.
People are excited to have something to do with their dogs.
We'll tell you why these pups dressed up for a costume parade.
I'll show you if you need to trade in your rake for a snow shovel anytime soon, coming up in weather.
Her name is Busy. We'll show you what she did this last week to earn that name in sports.
All that and more, this is ATV News.
From the campus of Utah State University in Logan, Utah, the Department of Journalism and Communication presents the award-winning newscast, ATV News.
When they register, they declare a party.
Election Day is in 2 weeks. We'll show you where to vote and when the deadline to register is. Welcome to this edition of ATV News. I'm Carson Frost.
And I'm Kai Beatty. More people are registering to vote this year in Cache Valley. This graph represents the amount of active voters per party according to the Cache County Clerk's Office. The Republican Party has the most registered voters with 41,573. Unaffiliated voters are second with 19,772. Democrats are third with 6,702. 7 smaller parties make up the rest. This graph represents the monthly change of registered voters in each party. Some parties, like the Constitution, Libertarian, and United Utah parties, had declining numbers. The Utah Forward Party faced no change. The remaining parties faced different increases in voter registrations. Former North Logan Mayor and Political Science Department head at USU, Damon Cann, says the monthly changes reflect a trend in shifting parties and people declaring political parties.
When they register, they declare a party, and so it really becomes a tide that lifts all boats.
Cann says these numbers change as we approach the presidential election. He also encourages students to register to vote here in the Valley.
If you want to avoid the polls on Election Day, you have 2 more days to register to vote through a mail-in ballot. To register online, start by visiting voter.utah.gov or using the QR code on screen. You'll need a valid Utah driver's license or ID. Click the box that says Register to Vote, then fill out the boxes on both this and the next page. Once you press Save and Continue, as long as all your information is correct, you should see this page and your registration is complete. To register, you can find the form online or fill it out at the county clerk's office. You must get it to the county clerk by 5 p.m. Friday. The county clerk will send you a ballot like this through the mail once your registration is complete. You can make sure your registration is up to date again by visiting voter.utah.gov, this time clicking the Find My Voter Registration information box. Then after putting in your information, you can also select from options on the side of the page to track your mail ballot and learn more about the candidates. If you miss the registration deadline for mail-in ballot, you can register and vote in person on Election Day at the voting center with 2 forms of approved identification.
The last few weeks we've talked about what's on your ballot. Do you know where to drop it off after you fill it out? Joining us live at the USU Credit Union is Jackson Day.
Thanks, Kai. That's right, I'm here on campus at the USU Credit Union at the only ballot drop box in Logan that's not at the Cache County Admin Building. There are 3 ballot boxes in Logan. The Cache County Admin Building has one on the west side of the parking lot. That drop box is available 24/7. The Cache County Clerk's Office has another box. That one is inside the building, mounted on the east side of the office. That box is available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The last one is here on Utah State campus, right where I'm at. It's on the east side of the USU Credit Union, and this box is available 24/7 as well. Once you get your ballot, it's as easy as coming to one of these boxes and putting it in. There goes mine. If you plan on using one of these boxes, you need to be sure that your ballot is in the box by 8 p.m. on Election Day. Reporting live, Jackson Day, ATV News. Back to you at the desk, Kai.
Thanks, Jackson.
Universities across the state, including USU, are competing to win the Lieutenant Governor's Campus Cup. Students can earn points for their school by registering to vote. BYU, which won the last competition 2 years ago, is in the lead and USU is fourth, but the USU-SA Student Advocate Vice President says they think USU still stands a chance.
I would love to see students turn out more so politicians have a vested interest in tailoring policy proposals to people our age.
Lyman says the Lieutenant Governor will visit the winning school and award them the cup. The competition ends November 5th.
On-campus residents are now getting first dibs at meeting with a therapist. Addison Stoddard shows you how Residence Life and CAPS are working together to improve mental health.
You may see people coming and going, but there isn't much action on the third floor of the TSC outside the Counseling and Prevention Services office. The same might be said about the Residence Life Embedded Therapist program. I asked on-campus residents if they had heard of the program before.
I know there is like a therapist that comes to, there's like an office in Canyon Crest that they come sometimes.
I did not know that was a thing. Nope, not at all. I have not.
Yep, I just haven't used them before.
I have not heard of it.
Even though there are students that have never heard of the program before, CAPS saw that there was a need for it.
CAPS in general noticed that a lot of the care reports, the student concern reports, primarily actually came from the residence halls.
This is the second year that several therapists are located in 2 residence halls.
Me and 2 of my colleagues are the first in this position.
The Lundstrom Student Center is one of the locations of an embedded therapist. This therapist serves mainly the Student Living Center, but anyone can attend a session here. There's also an embedded therapist office in this building, Canyon Crest. Students just need to come down their stairs to meet with a therapist.
Zoom is also an option if students prefer to meet in their own apartments. You can schedule an appointment with a therapist by going to the CAPS homepage, clicking the Request an Appointment button, and then filling out the survey with your information. Addison Stoddard, ATV News.
You can visit our Facebook page to learn more about the Residence Life Embedded Therapist program.
Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is a celebration of life and death that connects family members. The Nora Eccles Harrison Museum of Art has been highlighting this tradition the last few years. There is an ofrenda in the lobby of the museum with photos, food, colorful skulls, flowers, and candles. All of these items represent different kinds of ofrendas to honor loved ones.
In Mexico, we think that the Day of the Dead, the 1st of November and the 2nd of November, the dead ones come to be with us. And this is a traditional, very traditional old story that the native towns in Mexico used to do it before the Spaniards came.
The Day of the Dead ofrenda is now set up. There will be a parade for the day with many students from different schools who will be dressed up in colorful clothing, celebrating this historic tradition. And now the ofrenda will be set up through November 2nd. And now joining us at the desk with weather is Kesley Kincaid.
You know, Kesley, Dia de los Muertos isn't the only holiday coming up next week. What have you got planned for Halloween?
You know I have plans for Halloween. Halloween is my favorite holiday. I'll be going to a party, and I am so glad that it is inside with the temperatures coming up. The current temperature is 70 degrees.
That was so fun!
We'll show you the winners from the Pup Fest costume contest.
Joining me in the studio is Matt Ritchey, USU Student Body President, and today we're going to talk about what a day in his life looks like coming up.
If you can say with me, imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. 'Cause every kid across the nation deserves a book to read, and we can make it happen right now. No, I don't know what you've been told, but kids with books learn so much more. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people. motivates some magic. She's the writing on the wall, writing on the wall. And make a difference. One look can inspire a child. One look can be the first thing that helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Welcome to ATV Weather. I'm Kesley Kincaid. First, we are going to take a look at our national radar. As you can see, there is a huge storm moving in on the upper west coast through Oregon up into northern Idaho. Then it will be moving up into Canada. In the Midwest, you can see that there is a much smaller storm that is moving through Indianapolis up into Canada. Now we are going to move to our state radar. As you can see, looking at our state radar, get ready for a whole lot of nothing. With the high pressure we have been experiencing, we have had no cold fronts move in or big storms. Now we're going to take a look at our 7-day forecast. As you can see, today has been such a nice day with a high of 71, which is the warmest day we are going to experience this week. Tomorrow we will have a small dip in temperature down to 54 with super cloudy skies. But get excited for this weekend. The temperatures will be in the mid to upper 60s with sunshine all weekend, which is so nice because moving into early next week, we'll experience a huge drop in temperature down to 50 and 43 degrees with really cloudy skies, and that will continue throughout the rest of the week. So it is definitely time to pull out your favorite sweater and those warm parkas. You are all caught up on weather. Our very own Addison Stoddard sat down with Matt Ritchey, the student body president at Utah State, to talk to him more about what he does.
Joining me in the studio is Matt Ritchey, USU student body president. Thanks so much for being here, Matt.
Absolutely.
We're going to ask him just a couple questions about his life as USU student body president. So could you just tell me what a day in the life looks like for you?
Yeah, I think it depends, right? There's some days that are really busy with student body president stuff and some days that are more class heavy, right? But the busiest days tend to be from pretty early morning until late night. I'm meeting with a lot of different people, ranging from, my own committee and other students that I work with all the way up to, President Cantwell and university leadership that way. So you do get a lot of in between, but it's always a good time.
That's super awesome. That's awesome that you're able to kind of meet with a group of different people throughout the university and also have time to do your own stuff. So why is it important for students to vote and participate in the elections, and why is it important who we put into office?
Yeah, so I would say, first of all, we don't actually have a really huge voter turnout at Utah State. We average about 10%. And we're really working to include that because you want to feel that your officers represent you. So increasing that number past 10% is something we're really passionate about. The reason that it's important is because we do work on important issues. I talk to a lot of people who generally don't know what the student body president does. That is okay. I did not do this to be famous or popular. I just really like the work that I'm doing. But I do think it's useful. And so I talk to people about the things that I'm doing, and they're generally like, oh, I didn't realize that it was that kind of work. And it's not just me that does that level of work, right? I have a whole team. There's over 20 officers in Logan, over 50 officers in the statewide system that are doing work to represent their campuses and their areas of expertise. So whether it be representing your concerns to your dean, the dean of your college, or to the university administration, or even on the state level, state legislators, Your officers are working hard to represent you. So you want to know that you can trust them, that you have the right people in their spot.
That's so great. That is great information and something to think about as the new election comes up in February once again.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
We'll toss it back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Addison and Matt. It's October, and you might be seeing people start to dress up for Halloween. But if you were by the fairgrounds Saturday, you would have seen dogs in costumes. Dogs were barking and dressed up for the spooky Pup Fest. There was free hot chocolate, a pumpkin patch, a play area for the dogs, and a photo booth. There was also a station for dogs to compete in a peanut butter eating contest. The centerpiece of the event was the dog parade. Organizers say it's a great way to get out and do something during fall.
People are excited to have something to do with their dogs. You know, it is an activity that is really sort of geared towards that.
Owners walked their dogs and showed off their costumes as they went around the park. Organizers say the money they earn from the festival goes to Cache Humane Society, the only non-kill shelter in Cache Valley. After the parade, they lined up for the costume contest for awards like Cutest Costume and Ultimate Dog.
Feels amazing.
Good.
That was so fun!
And I'm sure that he's quite excited as well.
Joining us now at the desk is Kaylee Moss with ATV Sports.
Looks like there was some fierce competition with those pups.
It sure does. Well, that wasn't the only competition. On Saturday, there was a fierce competition in the Maverick Stadium. And coming up in sports, I'll show you if interceptions like this helped the Aggies pull off a win.
Makes a move, gets the cross into a rebel.
4 goals in 1 week for Busy Arevalo. I'll show you if these goals led to some wins.
It's a huge honor for the school. It's a huge honor for our department.
We'll tell you what award ATV News won.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Can you feel the sun?
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
USU scored the first touchdown on Saturday, but did they score the last? Welcome to ATV Sports. I'm Kaylee Moss. Utah State played New Mexico on Saturday with the closest game of USU's season. This game was a back and forth battle. Devin Dampier threw 3 interceptions this game, including this one intercepted by junior Avante Dickerson. Spencer Petras made the first touchdown of the game with this 2-yard run, having the most passing yards for USU. Russell Faison runs 6 yards to make the second touchdown for USU. In the second quarter, In the second quarter, Dampier makes a 21-yard pass caught by Javen Jacobs, having 29 receiving yards. Then Dampier throws a 14-yard pass to Ryan Davis in the end zone. Petros throws a 4-yard pass to Odo Tia for the final touchdown of the first half. Dampier throws another interception and Brock Lane catches it, closing out the first half. The score at halftime is 24-15 Utah State. In the third quarter, USU got the first touchdown. Devin Dampier makes this touchdown for New Mexico, having 105 rushing yards, the most in the game. Jalen Royals makes this catch to get the first down, having the most receiving yards in the game with 188. Javen Jacobs runs 15 yards to score this touchdown and in the fourth quarter, Eli Sanders runs 20 yards, and now the score is 36-38. Aggies still ahead. In the fourth quarter, Herschel Turner runs this 43 yards to score for the Aggies. After being ahead the whole game, Devin Dampier scores as well as Eli Sanders. Final score, 50-45 New Mexico. This was USU's 6th loss of the season and 3rd loss of conference play. Bowl eligibility is still possible, but the Aggies would have to win out the rest of their season. The Aggies are on the road until the next home game, November 16th against Hawaii. Aggie basketball kicked off with a charity game against Weber State on Friday night. Junior Mason Falsla passes the ball to Isaac Johnson to put the first points on the scoreboard. Number 7, Dexter Acano makes these 2 3-pointers back-to-back, 2 out of the 6 3-pointers from USU. Carson Templin dunks the ball, then he blocks Weber State blaze threat so freshman Tucker Anderson can get the rebound and get the ball to senior guard Dayton Albury to get his only points of the game. Transfer student from UVU Drake Allen makes these 2 3-pointers, making him the 2nd highest scorer for USU this game. Weber State Vertinen makes this 3-pointer, but USU defense kept the Aggies up at halftime with a score of 42-28. Returning grad student Ian Martinez dunks the ball, having the most points this game with 19 points. Nigel Burris got the rebound, having 6 rebounds, the most rebounds for Weber State. Weber State Miguel Tomley tightened the score gap with this shot, but another dunk from Templin and Martinez led the Aggies to a win with a final score of 85-66, with a final 3 from Isaac Davis. The next home basketball game will be November 6th against Alcorn State. On Thursday, Utah State women's soccer played Colorado College. Ryan Johanna assisted Alex Day in this only goal in the first half because of stops like this from Colorado State goalie Reagan Wallace. USU had 11 shots on goal, and at the end of the first half, the score was 1-0 Aggies. 3 minutes into the second half, forward Kate Christian scored for the Aggies, and things picked up for the Aggies. Johannes Sr. from Japan made this penalty kick for the Aggies. The Aggies had 15 shots on goal during the second half, but Wallace did not let this shot in. USU defense only allowed Colorado College to have 1 shot on goal in the second half. Ellie Hendricks assisted Busy Arevalo to make the 5th goal, and then shortly after, Arevalo scored again just 4 minutes later, being the only player to score more than once this game. The last shot just could not quite make it in, but the Aggies still won 6-0. Just 3 days later, Utah State played Air Force, who has only won 1 conference game. Busy Arevalo scored the first goal in the first half. USU had 4 shots on goal, and AFA had 0 first half. Forward Tess Wirtz scores the second goal in the first half, leaving the score 2-0 Aggies. In the second half, Cora Brendel saves the penalty kick from Kaylee Sherman. Tess Wirtz assists Arevalo for her second goal of the game. Soon after, senior Ryan Ioana scores for the Aggies. This was one of AFA's 5 shots during the second half that Brendel saved. The penalty kick did not go in for the Aggies, but they still won 4-0. Busy Arevalo was the Mountain West Conference Player of the Week, having a 4-goal week. The next home game is on Halloween against Boise State. USU Volleyball played Boise State on Friday night in Boise. USU led in kills, assists, and digs. 28 of those kills came from Andrea Samoski, giving her a career high. Boise State led in aces and blocks. USU beat Boise State 3-2, leaving the Aggies ranked number 5 in the conference. The next home game is October 26th against Fresno State. This last week, USU men's and women's tennis played in the 2024 ITA Division I Mountain Regional Championship. Indaya Nespor, member of USU tennis team, beat Logan Vokes from Colorado State University in the round of 64. Nespor lost to Mila Stanjovic from the University of Colorado in the round of 32. Mohamed Al-Khattab was the only member from the men's tennis team to qualify for this tournament. He came into this tournament ranked number 1 and had a bye for the first round. He beat Louis Bauman from ISU in the round of 32 and will now play TJ Wells from BYU in the round of 16. The date for this match is to be determined. The Aggie men's and women's cross-country teams were in Madison, Wisconsin for the pre-Nationals Invitational. The men's team beat 8 nationally ranked teams, putting the Aggies in 11th place. Graduate student Cameron Todd was USU's number 1 runner, taking 17th place in the 8K race with a time of 23 minutes and 10 seconds. The men's team is now ranked number 19 in this week's coaches' polls. The women's team finished 14th overall in Madison in the 6K against 29 teams. The Aggies close out the regular season at the Utah Open on October 24th in Salt Lake City. Skyview played at Green Canyon last Wednesday night. Senior Shandon Thane scored the first touchdown for Green Canyon. Tucker Stokes ran 1 yard to score for Skyview. Green Canyon quarterback number 1, Peyton Wilson, who is a senior, had 193 rushing yards, the most yards in the game, including his running back and wide receivers. Number 8, Hayden Schramm completes this pass, and then Liam Guthrie completes this 40-yard pass for Skyview to tie the score 14-14. The back-to-back game continues with a run from Baxter Martin to score another touchdown. Guthrie completes yet another 40-yard pass from quarterback Jack Clark to tie the score once again. Guthrie had 81 receiving yards this game. Schramm completes this 7-yard pass for his second touchdown of the night. Skyview turns the ball over at the end of the game, and Green Canyon wins 31-28. Green Canyon's record is now 7-2. You're all caught up on sports. Back to you at the desk, Carson.
Thanks, Kaylee. ATV News won the 2024 National Edward R. Murrow Award for Best Student Newscast. They won for their work on Cash Rendezvous, Better Than We Found It, from March of last year. The episode took an in-depth look at the environmental issues facing Cache Valley and the potential solutions. Former members of the ATV News team who worked on the episode accepted the award at a black tie gala in New York City last week. 5 of the 10 former students who worked on the show and advisor Chris Garf attended the gala in person. Garf says the win is a huge honor for the JCOM department.
It's essentially as if our football team won a national championship. That's kind of like what we did, but on a journalism level.
Well, guys, wouldn't it be nice if the Aggie football team followed suit and won a national championship of their own?
I mean, if that happened, I would have the best seats in the house for sure.
And I'd be right there with you, Kesley. Hope more awards to come for our sports teams and news teams.
Ain't that the truth, Kaylee? Ain't that the truth? Thanks for watching this edition of ATV News.
You can watch this and other editions on our Facebook page.
We'll leave you with another look at more costumes from the Pup Fest.
Have a great week, Cache Valley.